All right, and we are live. What is up, everybody? Aaron the Dog back with breakdown number 2 of the day. It is UFC Vegas 50, UFC Fight Night Vegas, UFC Fight Night Santos versus Ankalaev, whatever you want to call it. It's the UFC for the week. It's starting a little bit early here, starting at 4 p.m. Eastern, so 3 hours earlier than normal. But I'm here with Lewis of Norton MMA. How you doing, Lewis?
Yeah, good man. Excited. This card looks, sleeper card.
Yeah, I agree. Saturday is a good night of MMA with both Bellator, which we covered on the channel yesterday. It's right out there right now. And now the UFC. We have LFA that I covered earlier this morning with Lucky Locks already on the channel. So all of that's available already. Good weekend of MMA. Starts tonight with Invicta. No, I do not have an Invicta breakdown. I just, at some point, I have to kind of pick my battles. So, but pretty excited about this card. And with me also is my third co-host, the new regular co-host on the UFC 3 o'clock show Eastern time. Josh, how you doing, sir?
I'm good. How are you? Yeah, 2 o'clock here. So I was like, oh, does he mean 3 o'clock?
Yep. I realized that. It's all good. Time zones. It's 3 o'clock here. It's 8 o'clock where Lewis is at, 2 o'clock where Josh is at. Yeah. It's it's the worldwide time zones. We should all just be on one time. Whatever. We'll see how that works. But how you doing, Josh?
I'm good today, man. I think like you guys have probably said it. I think you just got going, but this card's actually really freaking good. And I'm excited about pretty much each matchup on here. I think they're all going to be really good fights. So, or just
I was saying to Lewis before, I think this is better than the pay-per-view last week.
We'll see.
On paper, I feel like these matchups are good, but yeah, that is very true. We got 14 fights to break down.
Got my G Fuel ready.
Yeah, excellent. I was about to ask. It is Savage Week. So more important than anything for me in my channel is that Jillian Robertson's fighting. So let's go, Jillian. You're going to know the breakdown on that fight from me, but these guys might have a little more insight on the fight. I actually think it's her best fight in quite a while. I think it's a good matchup, honestly. But 14 fights. This is the new trio for pay-per-views we'll figure it out as we go, but definitely looking forward to working with both of you guys through this card because, I think it's a good one to break down. I don't remember last week, but I feel like we had, 3 or 4 fights maybe that we unanimously agreed on? And I think we pretty much hit all 4 of those fights.
It was definitely Turner and
Turner, Nurmagomedov, definitely two.
Yep, Nurmagomedov, or Nurmagomedov, as Joe Rogan calls him now.
Unanimous, but that was
Covington we had as well. Yeah. We had Moicano, I believe, as the others. So those 4, I think, were the ones. So nice parlay there. Maybe moving forward, you want to do that. Alec, thank you for joining us. Unofficial 4th co-host of Justin Villegas or Villegas. I never, I'm going to know how to say that. It's Justin. But either way, appreciate everybody joining us. 14 fights. We're going to get to it. We're going to start at the light heavyweight division here. I think that, sometimes a little confused about the order of the fights here. This one I rate as about a C in appropriate of it being the first fight of the night. I don't think it's the most egregious they've had in a while, but still, I think this one could have been a little higher, kind of surprised. But Tefon Njukwe, the Don, 6-1, taking on the 10-0, 35-year-old debutant in Azmat Mirzakhanov. Gonna break down the professional first. He's right away. He's up there. So 35 years old, but at light heavyweight, they're not going to be too picky. He, I think, fights a little bit differently than a lot of people would expect him as a Russian. He's on his toes quite a bit, bouncing in and out. Good movement. I think all things that are going to be really, really key against a guy like Tefon Njukwe, who just kind of marches forward, will throw one judo throw and then never do judo again. So
one Taitoshi throw.
Exactly. One Taitoshi, one. and then he's like, I'm done. Like that, I'm spent, which is more than I can throw. So shout out to him for being able to do that. But I think the key here with Azamat, honestly, he just coming in and out with the striking, not staying in the phone booth in this fight too much. As the fight goes on, testing the takedown defense. I'm not sure he's going to be able to get a takedown Teflon. Teflon has very good takedown defense, even when he's tired. But one thing that does change as he gets tired is the rate, the volume, and everything. For Teflon, I think he's got to catch Mirzakhanov early, or he's just got to catch him pretty consistently, slow down the movement. I mean, Mirzakhanov, he is 10-0, but I mean, he's facing not great levels of competition. The guy who's facing on the Contender Series was handpicked for him. He really was. I'm going to go with Azamat here. I'm going to take him to be able to get a decision. I think he's going to use some cage pressure as the fight goes on and kind of just go in and out with the volume. But I don't think this is going to be a great fight. I think this is going to be kind of exciting, maybe beginning, and then from there, typical like lower range 205 fight. I think both guys could possibly get tired. I'm not sold on Azamat at all as of now, but I'm going to take him in this matchup. I'm going to go to Josh here first, and then we'll finish with Lewis, and I'll alternate back and forth.
All right.
What's your thought on this fight?
Yeah, man, I like Teflon and Chuckwoo, but he's been
in Chuckwee. I always say, I'm sorry, I made him basically Kennedy and Jikwu.
So Don. Just a Don.
Yeah, just the Don.
He kind of reminds me of Nzejuku a little bit. Like we see him come in, he gets a little bit better each time. I feel like when he steps into the UFC, this is going to be like his third, fourth fight in the UFC now. He came in when he was 5-0.
Yep, and he had a fight with William Knight off of the UFC and beat him. So.
Azamat's got like that butt chin. It looks like you could get lost staring at that across from you, like, staring into the deep abyss of that chin.
Yeah, no beard there.
No, yeah, like if he comes out no beard, that's going to be really distracting. But no, I know more about Teflon. I don't know too much. I haven't seen enough from Azamat. He's got the Muniz knockout, but that's 50 seconds. You could see like, oh man, if that went a 3-round fight, Muniz might have won that fight if he didn't catch him early. So I know more about Teflon. I think he's got a lot more power, and if he can stop the takedown, like you said, I would hate to see Azamat just be able to take him down and then just kind of gas him out on the ground. So give me Teflon, and I like a finish in this fight. I know he's got these decisions back to back, and he's been going 3 rounds with tough dudes. So I think he wants to get in and get it done quickly, and I think he's capable of that too because we've seen it before. So I like Teflon in this fight as that tiny underdog. I like that.
Okay. Yeah. Lewis, what's your thoughts?
Yeah, I think Azamat's actually quite a young 35-year-old. I think he moves quite well for someone the age. Someone, taken to mixed martial arts at a late career. Obviously a Sambo guy as well, but he has got a lot of judoka skills, as you mentioned. So to me, I think it is Teflon all day. I love the comparison of Njoku. I think it's very similar. Yeah. He loves to use the range. He's got an absolute piston of a right hand as well. I think going 3 rounds, I can see Azamat slowing down quite drastically. And that's
we only saw him for what? 2.5 minutes in his debut.
Exactly. And he starts off on fire. As long as if Teflon can use the range, stay away from the big heavy shots. If he tries to grab him on your bike, you don't want anything to do with the grappling early on. You just want to don't let him put all his weight on you, wear you down, because he'll steal around that way, and then he's fresh for the second, and that's how he's going to win this fight to me. But I think Teflon can definitely damage him. I see a finish as well. I think it's going to be like a late second, kind of early third round.
Interesting. Wow.
Yeah, I really do. I like Teflon this. I like just how he moves as well.
And then DJ with the Don's going to make him an offer he can't refuse. I just saw The Godfather for the first time like 2 months ago. Loved it. And I'm a huge movie guy, so it's kind of weird that wasn't there. The other thing with Teflon that's very interesting, he's younger than Kennedy in Jikwu, who everybody wants to think is like 22. Teflon is 27. Yeah. So, still really approaching his prime.
He won that.
One thing about Teflon is Yes, I agree. Yeah, I agree with that. And I like him at 205. I think this is the division for him. And again, Azamat we saw for a very brief amount of time. He did look good and spry, but we didn't really see how he responded to adversity at all. And, he's a pretty high favorite here for making his debut at 35 years old against, still a guy in Teflon who Josh pointed out is getting more comfortable by each fight. This is only his 7th, now 8th fight as a pro. I mean, I actually like a lot of what was said. I hate to do this on the first fight, but I'm going to join you guys on Teflon. You've sold me. I don't do that too often, but honestly, I think that there's some pretty convincing arguments being made here, and I think I'm too much making Teflon a one-round fighter when it's actually not been proven the case.
I like guys as well that have a record that is nearly all UFC. Like, do you know what I mean? When you see people like Frank Mir and BJ Penn back in the day, all these people that have 13 losses on their records now. Yeah. But if you look back, they started at 2-0 in the UFC. So it's all at the highest level. Andrei Arlovsky for the start before he went away to Japan and all that stuff. So I think Tafon is a little throwback here. It's starting so early on. Yeah. So, yeah. That 6-1 is a legit record. It's no scrubs on it at all as of yet.
Yeah. And again, plus 155, that's a really nice dog to start out the night with. And I just think a lot of people see Mirzakhanov, that type of name. And I do think right now that is affecting odds with fights. I think that Russians are favorites in general in a lot of these fights, especially with Nchukwi, who until he lost was a heavy favorite in all of his fights. Like he was this rising prospect. Then he lost, and that kind of has this effect sometimes with the viewers of bettors. All of a sudden it's like, oh, he's not perfect, which MMA is not made for. But I mean, this is our first unanimous pick of the night on the first pick, first fight. So, yeah, I mean, if you're doing the parlay this time around, we're going to have a good size one with a plus 155 to start it out. So
be worried, though, if Azmat comes in and he's shaved his top lip.
Yeah, watch out.
Watch out.
Yeah, if it's just the Dagestani beard, we're all in deep, deep trouble.
You're going to see him tie Toshi more than once.
Yeah, exactly. And speaking of beards, we're on to our next fight. This is at bantamweight. Guido Canetti, one of the best names in the organization, if not the best, against Chris Moutinho. Not bad, boys. Really good names here. Maybe that's just me who thinks that, but we'll see about this fight. This is a fight that I feel like should have been opening the early prelims, like been on before the prelims on Facebook or something. Guido Canetti, he's 8-6. He also lost twice on the Ultimate Fighter back in 25 years ago when he was on the Ultimate Fighter. So he's technically 8-8, or I guess he's technically 8-6. But there's a world where he's 8-8 in MMA, taking on the 9-5 Chris Moutinho. Let's just be frank here. We know Chris Moutinho for getting beat up by Sean O'Malley for 3 rounds and landing an occasional shot or two on Sean. Actually, one notable thing from that fight is that Sean O'Malley had a longer medical suspension than Chris Moutinho after that fight. So is that a moral victory? I don't know. But other than that, Chris Moutinho, I went back and watched quite a bit of his tape. He's okay. I wasn't blown away by any stretch by really any particular aspect of his game. 29 years old now. He did obviously lose back in July. He's taken enough time off, I think, from that beating. His wins are just not over a super legit, impressive level of competition. Guys like Andrew Salas at 6-5 used his grappling to win that. Beat a 3-0 Ashik Ajim, who I've never heard of. But the steps up against Johnny Campbell, Tony Gravely, gets put away in those fights. His best win of his career was Damon Blackshear. That is a very legit win there. But submitted by a 4-4 David Garcia, a 6-5 Brandon Seiler Sr. Again, those are in 2017, but they're just kind of a little bit of worries for me. And Guido Canetti's had great moments in just about all of his fights. I mean, he won the first round against Marlon Vera not that long ago. Yes, he gassed out and lost the second round. I understand.
5 years ago.
Yeah. Well, yeah, he's been very inactive. Still, that is true. Guido Canetti, I don't really know why he fights once every 2 years. So that's why it's very odd also. I mean, he has moments of brilliance, but I just don't see him being able to put together 15 minutes. I'm not really confident on either side on this fight. I hope it doesn't last 15 minutes, to be honest, because it's going to get pretty ugly as it goes. Otherwise, Moutinho is going to be the much better conditioned fighter. He's 29, not 43 or 42 and a half, whatever Guido is. I mean, this fight is being set up for Moutinho to win. I think it's one of the only guys in the bantamweight division I'm going to feel comfortable picking Moutinho to win against on air. But I'll take Moutinho by decision. I just think that the cardio and the gas should be the difference, but I'm not super confident either side. What are your thoughts, Lewis?
I mean, the two notes I have here is this is the UFC giving Chris Moutinho the massive payback he deserves for stepping in on a week's notice, wasn't it, against Sean? That's the only reason. He's right. The Craig White. That's the equivalent. Remember when Craig White stepped up to face Diego Sanchez, was it? Oh, no, who was he fighting first?
Yeah.
Neil Magny. And then
and then they gave him Diego.
They gave him Diego Sanchez as like a gimme fight, and Diego ripped him up as well.
I was all over Diego there.
Yeah, Chris Moutinho's done the UFC a big favor. He was not ready for the UFC. He was not going to be signed by the UFC. He came in because he was the only person they could find that was willing to take a fight with someone like Sean O'Malley on a couple of days' notice, essentially. Got his ass beaten up. Credit to him. He gained like 500,000 followers on Instagram, whatever it was. So, full credit to him. I think you've nailed it because the other I've got here is cardio. And he was getting beaten up for 15 minutes and he didn't slow down one step. He kept pressure on Sean the whole way. Sean was just counter-strikering. That's all he did is counter shots the whole fight. Very rarely did Sean press the pace on him because he didn't need to. He was just chilling at his own speed, and I was a little disappointed with him because he was more involved in his showing off than just getting on with, being professional and finishing. He could have finished Chris about 3 times in that fight and just decided I'm going to hang around, and that's I don't. Not many people like Sean O'Malley. I don't, but Chris is he's got the cardio. He's got the Guido sucks, man. That's all I'll say. There's no other way to beat around it. He sucks. He's old. He's battered. He has no notable wins in the last decade.
He's got a terrible record.
He's got a terrible record.
Yeah.
They found him, and he's coming in for a paycheck. That is it. He's probably getting 20 grand to come in. They're doing Chris a favor, and Chris will probably be released even with a win here. He's probably on a 2-fight deal.
Think so?
Yeah.
No.
This is what happened.
Chris is not getting released here. Not with that Twitter following.
He beat Diego Sanchez. He would have. Hey, he's not bringing any eyes in, mate. They pity followed him. It's nothing. Craig White was on a 2-fight. They came in, and if he beat Neil Magny, he was going to get a 3-fight deal because it wasn't going to happen. And then they gave him Diego Sanchez, and they said, win or lose. They just boosted his money for that fight. Win or lose, you're going back to cage race, basically. So, and he still lost.
Yeah, that's a little different, though. Craig White didn't get a half.
Man.
But
it does not belong here.
I agree, but they want him to stick around because of that. So, Josh,
I'd be shocked if he stays in. I'd be shocked.
This could be one of the last times we see Guido Canetti like in any sort of fight. And it's weird when your opponent, Chris Moutinho, the best attribute that you're talking about is his ability to just shots in the face because there's nothing else that really is notable about this guy's game. So,
right.
I mean,
other than pressure,
he's got good pressure. Yeah. But if he's going to be able to use it, we'll see if he can back him against the fence, and then land some shots and put him away potentially. I don't know. It's a really weird fight for me, especially like picking wise. But Guido Canetti, I think he's going to come out, look good, explosive. When you lose 3 fights in a row, obviously, like you're going to put a little bit more pressure on yourself, I feel like. And Chris Moutinho, a little bit more following if he does win. And if he wins by decision, then it'll just go by the wayside of this night and this entire card. He'll be a footnote of this card if he wins by decision. So I think he could come out, try to get a finish. I don't know if he'll be able to do it, but I hate this fight, and I'll go Chris Moutinho.
So we are unanimous
on the first two. We're all
There's
Chris
no
and
way
all
you'll ever
Teflon
hear me say I'm
Chukwi.
backing Guido. I can't do it.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to believe, but yeah, I mean, Chris Moutinho, by the way, only a -150 favorite. I'm still not suggesting you put a lot of money on this, but plus 130 on Guido. If you're betting a plus one, yeah, if you're betting a plus 130 on Guido Canetti, you're really, really sick. Like that is at least half as much as it needs to be for you to be willing to bet him. Seriously. All right, we're gonna move on. We're at the middleweight division now. This fight is odd a little bit. I'm a little bit surprised Cody Brundage is still around. I was really what?
Just debut, right?
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, I don't know. I'm just not a big Cody Brundage fan. I'll say that much right off the bat. 6-2, taking on Dalcha Lumbungula, also known as Dalcha Champion, even though he hasn't been a champion for a long, long time. But he was with EFC light heavyweight and heavyweight champion. Cody Brundage 6-2. Coming off that loss to Nick Maximov, just really not very impressed with that fight, honestly. He got, out-wrestled by Maximov, which was not what I was expecting to happen in that fight. I know Maximov is a good grappler, but more with the submissions than the grappling. And just overall, I mean, Cody, he's a hard worker. He puts a good pace together. And I think those are things that could be challenges for Dalcha. So that's where I'm kind of left with this fight. Has Dalcha improved on any of his weaknesses since being in the UFC? No. It seems all of his weaknesses are still the same weaknesses he had coming in, and it seems like he's kind of been exposed. So I'm just kind of stuck on this one. Again, I mean, getting knocked out by William Knight, definitely not encouraging to me on the Contenders series. I mean, he's a good wrestler. He's good when he gets to the arm triangle position. He's got good cardio. I just think that Dalcha, has very little gas and a very small window to put this fight away. So it's like, for me, can Dalcha win the decision? I'm not sure. I really don't have a lot of confidence in my pick here. So I'm going to go with the dog. I'm going to go with Cody Brundage. But just because of his pace, his ability to get this fight to the ground and keep it on the ground. But, Dalcha just very low volume on the feet, and it goes lower and lower as the fight goes on. I think his power is slightly overrated, honestly. So I don't know. I'm not super confident, but I'm going to take the slight dog in Cody Brundage based on pace and just sheer desperation. He's got to win this one.
There's not much else I can
Josh,
say. I feel like you absolutely nailed it. Like Cody Brundage, he does work really hard, and especially on the ground, he's going to scrap to get back to his feet or just get the dominant position. He did cut Maximov in that fight. He was really working for the finish, and towards the end of the fight, he almost got it too. Like he was piecing up Maximov once it got back to the feet. I was really impressed with him in that fight, actually. And then Dalcha, I was impressed with Marc-Andre Barriault too, which made me pick Marc-Andre in his last fight, which he ended up getting knocked out in 15 seconds. And so that was, a little false. And so that just makes you doubt Dalcha a little bit more. But you nailed it, absolutely everything. I like Cody Brundage in this fight. I think he does win it. Dalcha's been in the game, for a little bit. He's kind of like Teflon. And, he came in young, and he keeps getting more and more UFC experience. So you would think, eventually he's going to put together maybe that flawless performance. But against Brundage, I feel like he is going to be desperate, but like calculated in this fight, like calculated desperation in order to win this fight. And I think he's going to do absolutely everything he can to get it done. So I do like Brundage. I agree with you with that. I was kind of surprised with Brundage.
Yeah, I think it looks a lot like the Barriault fight too. Honestly, I have pretty similar attributes with Brundage and Barriault and how they go about winning their fights. So, Lewis, what's your thoughts on this fight? Don't tell me we're all agreeing on Cody Brundage.
I originally had Dolce written. You guys are making a good argument, to be honest, because if you compare, I think he's a poor man's Barrios. I think Barrios has very good pressure, very good cardio, and he cuts off the cage really well. I think that's the part where Cody doesn't. Cody doesn't cut the cage as well. I think he's very good on the feet. He's a lot more active. He fires a lot more. He's got high volume strikes, but I don't think Dolce's knockout shot. I think you're right. It's overrated as like a power shot. I think he's just got good timing because he doesn't throw loads of shots. He's just got very good timing.
I think he's really jacked and has good timing.
Yeah. He is a very good striker. He just needs to get it going a bit more. You know, you're always like, come on, you could really piece some guys up if you just got like. We'll go back to Njoku last week. In that first, if he just stepped on the gas in that first round, that could have been a first round easily. Mm-hmm. But what happened? He cruised, and I poked. But that's not the point. But he just cruised the whole way, and he had all that fight was his. He is a much better martial artist. But the thing is, these guys just select second gear. It's comfortable for them, and they just cruise no matter what, win or lose. It's just they don't like getting out of that comfort zone. It seems. But he was striking with Ankalaev for a little bit. You know, It's a tough one for me. I'm going to back Dolce. I'm not going to side with you guys because I want to be different here. Because I had Dolce written down to start with as well. But it is an issue. If he folds to the pressure early on, I'm worried because after round one, Dolce starts to really decline. But I think
Cody doesn't slow down. But...
No, it's a different.
That's fair.
Dolce could very well finish this fight. And did you notice, like in the Kennedy in Nzejuku fight, he wasn't even sweating at the end of the third round?
No,
like,
that's annoying to me.
Crazy.
Yeah,
wild.
Talk about a guy that doesn't like to take a hit to give a hit.
Yep, but I do think that the problem with the Cody pick for me is that I just don't think he has the striking to get the respect and work that pressure to that level. So that's one of my concerns with the pick, but I'm sticking with it. Plus 110, Cody Brundage, minus 130 on Dolce.
He also, by the way, Dolce has an extremely good reach for 5'8". I think it's like 76 or 77.
Yeah, very, very true. It's a close fight. The odds have it close. Two of us signed with the dog in Brundage, one with Dolce champion. So we'll move on to the next fight here. Just 1 second. Here we go. It is at the flyweight division. Miranda Maverick and Sabina Mazzo in this one. Good matchup here. Maverick did a little bit of a... What's up?
Josh disagrees big time.
Okay. You don't think this is a good matchup? That's fair. Miranda Maverick at one point. All right, fair enough. Tell us how you really feel. But Miranda Maverick definitely hit a little bit of a skid after that loss to Macy Barber. Next time around against Erin Blanchfield, there was no doubt about it. Erin Blanchfield really dominated the grappling, and that is kind of how a lot of fighters end up beating Miranda Maverick is by being able to out-grapple her. She's really, really physical, really good on the feet, good Muay Thai, good volume. Just her power isn't incredible, but honestly, her volume and aggression is really good. I think that her top game is good, but I think that she has issues with her grappling at times. Obviously, it's not going to be tested here against Sabina Mazzo out of Colombia. She's hard to figure out because she throws decent amount of volume, but there's no sting behind it. She has a good reach on the ground. She gets very overwhelmed. I think that, for me, Maverick is just about better everywhere than Sabina Mazzo. I don't think that Mazzo is really going to be able to get the respect on the feet to keep Maverick off her. But I also think Maverick is very overrated. When she was being considered one of the best flyweights in the world because John Anik said something on a YouTube video. I thought that was kind of crazy. Against, even against Jillian Robertson, she had a good couple rounds, but third round, Jillian Robertson ended up taking that one kind of over, nearly put her away with the armbar. There's lapses that I don't think Sabina Mazzo or her game's going to take out in Maverick, but overall, I think that this should be kind of a rinse and repeat decision win for Maverick. Gets a takedown or two each round. Josh, we'll get your thoughts and have Lewis finish it up.
Miranda Maverick, there's arguments to be made about how good she really is. I could see that. But Macy Barber, you could argue she won that fight. I think she won that fight. And then Aaron Blanchfield is maybe one of the best prospects in the sport for a woman. She's 22 years old and dominated Miranda Maverick, which is not easy to do by any means. I would put any amount of money. We'll replay this next week. I'd put any amount of money in the world that Miranda Maverick, coming off 2 losses, is going to beat Sabina Mazzo. I don't know if I'd put a finish on it, but I just know for a fact she's going to win this fight. There's no doubt in my mind.
All right, this is your lock of the night here. Miranda Maverick. Lewis, do you disagree here?
No. I think Miranda, I disagree with you a little bit, Aaron, but I just say I don't think she's overrated. I think she is very good. She's just very young as well. I think she's 2 years younger than Jillian. So she's still got a wealth of experience as well. They're in similar boats. All the skill set of this kind of the division, a lot of the ladies here have very similar skills. Miranda, to me, although she has I think she's good on top, as you say. Off her back, that's not her game. That's just not what she does. If you think Anderson Silva, if you said he had bad jiu-jitsu, you'd be wrong. He's just got bad. He's bad on top. That's essentially it. He's got a great bottom game. So just different people, different things. Miranda Maverick is better everywhere than Mazzo, though. 100% is better everywhere. Mazzo has decent grappling. I argue Maverick actually has very good grappling. I just think she's been out-grappled by people who have phenomenal grappling. Jillian's a black belt at 26 years old. Is that Aaron gone?
No, the device is connected on the bottom, but there he is.
Yeah, no, I was just working around. I was having some connection. That's why I was having some delays. I just switched up the StreamYard. Keep going. I'll get the share screen back up. Sorry about that, guys.
Yeah, I'm 100% with Josh here. I think the odds here are very generous. I thought it was going to be a lot higher for Miranda, especially as she does have a lot of hype as well. Mazzo's not unknown, but she's lesser known. But no, I like Miranda here for sure, 100%. You would not convince me to bet Mazzo. Yeah, this is minus 300 on Miranda Maverick right now. That's going to rise. I agree. Plus 255 on Mazzo. I think, and then Visceral's. Amen, brother. 100%.
You say it, Miranda. This is. There's always an apple pie shitter, man. See, this is where I'm glad I kind of still view her a little bit overrated. It would not shock me at all if Mazzo ended up stealing this one. Really wouldn't.
It would shock me. It would shock me.
I reserve shocked for a little better level of fighter. And maybe I'm just bitter because she beat Jillian. Who knows?
I think that's it.
Yeah, Jillian has since trained with Miranda. Miranda also training out in Westminster, Colorado with tons of really, really good girls. I think that's a huge factor as well. She's left Virginia. She was living at home and training with her father. She left the comfort, went out to Colorado. I think that not only benefits the cardio, but going with other very good females like Tisha Torres, like Rose Namajunas, like Jillian Robertson when she's come out. I mean, those are all really, really huge factors. And Mazzo also has gone around since her last camp. So she's trying to kind of find herself also. And she's still young as well. But yeah, this is Maverick here. I'm going to be a little more reserved on it than you guys at minus 305, minus 310, but I'm still going to be investing pretty decently in it. So we agree on that one, taking Miranda Maverick. Next fight of the night. This is going to be, I think, a really exciting fight. Looking forward to this one at featherweight in Damon Jackson and Kamuela Kirk. I'm a big fan of both guys, honestly. I really do like Damon the Leech Jackson. He gets no respect, but, that's okay. He's ended up cashing as a dog quite a few times, so I don't think he minds it at all. Second go-around in the UFC. for him. Now 19-4-1, so a really good record. 33 years old, out of Fortis MMA. So our boy Syed going to be back, thank God. Taking on the Jillian, one of the best nicknames in all of MMA, Kamuela Kirk. 11-4 now for Kirk. Was on the Contenders Series a few years ago, and got the win there. Just wasn't got the loss there. Sorry, to Billy Quantero. It was a good fight. Billy Q is going to do what Billy Q does. It's that third round finish. Followed that up with the LFA actually losing a split decision there to Bruno Souza, who has made his debut in the UFC. That was a really, really close fight, honestly. I'm pretty surprised that they didn't give it to Kirk in that one. But either way, since then, Kirk's looked good, getting the knockout of Santos. Daniel Swain on short notice looked really good and very composed in that fight. Made Daniel Swain quit between rounds. It was just an all-around impressive performance, and then beat Makwan Amirkhani in his debut. Did he? It was very close. But I mean, not at all an easy debut to make against a guy like Makwan Amirkhani, and it was, I believe, on short notice, if I'm not mistaken. I really like Kirk's stand-up. Obviously, most of his finishes coming by way of punches. I believe he has 11 or 10 KO finishes in his career. He has good to decent takedown defense as well, which obviously I think is going to be a big key in this one with Damon Jackson. I really do think Kirk has the accuracy to put away Damon Jackson in this fight. I think it'd be quite a statement as well. Damon Jackson definitely can make this extremely dirty, grimy, take him into deep waters and, even possibly submit him. It wouldn't surprise me. Damon Jackson's just way better than people give him credit for just about everywhere. But I'm going to give Kirk the respect here. I'm going to say that I think Kirk's wide stance movement really lend well to takedown defense. I don't think he's going to keep himself against the cage too much. And, I think that on the feet, he has the accuracy to really hurt Damon Jackson and take a decision or get the finish. I'm actually going to say Kirk by TKO, though. So I'm going to take Kamuela Kirk in this spot. I'm going to take him to get the finish. Let's go to Lewis first.
That surprises me. You're going to say finishes Jackson as well. I really rate Jackson, man. I think he's got very clever, smart guy. Weathers storms, uses he's very wily. Is that the word to use? He's got a lot of tricks that people haven't seen, and he's got absolutely superb neck attacks.
That's a great word.
Wily. Yeah.
That's exactly what he is.
He's the Looney Tunes of the fighters. The Bektic fight is the fight where these are the fights when you pick a guy. Like, I always pick Bektic, and when I picked Bektic against Jackson, I was so convinced he was just going to run through him, and that's what he does. And Jackson just hang in there. And then what does he do? He pulls out another neck attack, another guillotine. Topiera, don't even look at, because that guy's the future of this fucking division. He's phenomenal. And I'm really worried for Jai Herbert next week. So we'll talk about that next week, because he's the real deal, Topiera. And Charles Rosa is a very good win, because another unorthodox guy. And Kirk, to me, is really good on the feet and really weak everywhere else. He's got a lot of holes in his game that I think someone like Damon can exploit. But I am worried, because he is susceptible to getting hit in the face quite a lot. Kirk can definitely catch him, but I don't like that as an analysis for me. Do you know? I don't like just saying someone gets caught. It's my thing. So
I think I said a lot more than he gets caught. I described.
I'm saying for me. I'm saying that's how I'm thinking. No, not you. No, I'm saying that's how I'm thinking. That's the only way I can see Kirk kind of. I can't see him out voluming Damon, because I think Damon's just going to get out of the way. He's not going to hang in there. He's going to use movement.
Jackson's not the underdog, Justin. Jackson's the favorite.
Is he really?
So, yeah,
I think he should. I think he should be after his UFC tenure so far.
I agree. I'm not betting on Kirk until he's an underdog.
He's beat 2 of them. Yeah, 3 killers and he's beat 2 of them. So I don't think Kirk can do what Tapira did. I don't think he can do that.
Oh no.
And that's why I'm going. Jackson can take him into deep waters, late finish. I think it's going to be a late finish. I think it could be easily a submission in the third round, but I'm going to take him by decision. I think Damon Jackson by decision. He'll win 2 and 3. Kirk will win round 1.
All right. I think this has a good chance to be considered for fight of the night too. In all honesty,
yeah, absolutely.
I think it's a really good
on
one.
On paper, this is a super close matchup, and it's very hard to decipher. Who you think's going to win. I was impressed with Kamwela Kirk, and I think he owned the mic very well after his UFC debut. So I want to see more of him. And that was like the bottom line from that fight is like I'm excited to watch Kamwela Kirk get back into the octagon. Damon Jackson, I think my word for him, I think he's more cheeky than Kamwela Kirk. He's got more creativity. He's got, a little bit more tricks, as Lewis said, that I think he can not overwhelm Kamwela Kirk because it's hard to overwhelm like a fighter, but just make him think a little bit too much in there, and then maybe catch him with a neck attack or something. Just outwork him, out hustle him, out wrestle Kamwela Kirk. I think he's going to teach him just a little bit that there's a little bit higher level in this sport. So I do like Damon Jackson in this fight too. I really do. It's a close one. Talking about
Visceral. Look at everybody gets all in these rushes. Visceral's like, oh, I'm on an island here. I'm on the island. I'm the only one picking Kamwela Kirk. I'm the only one picking the Jawaian here. I mean, it's like talk about two different demeanors too. Like Damon Jackson never looks relaxed in the octagon, and maybe he is, but he never looks relaxed. While Kamwela Kirk always looks relaxed in the octagon, for better or worse. Like I'm not saying but like you look at Kirk in all his fights, he's almost like standing like reclined, and like he never has an expression on his face. And like Damon Jackson's always gritting and just like doing everything he can, and Damon Jackson's seen way more. So, he also
mixes it up a lot better, and he'll make Kirk hesitate if he mixes in everything. Much like how Colby only has to worry about striking when he fought Jorge. Jorge had to think about wrestling.
Yeah, allowed
Colby to hit him. In a straight kickboxing fight, who you backing in that one? He would never unload the amount of shots he did on Masvidal unless he's already thinking about something else. And I think Damon can make him think about other things.
Yeah, and I think that's another good point is that Kirk had to think about takedowns and takedowns only against Amir Khani, and he didn't exactly look like roses there either. Like that was a very controversial decision. So
I thought Amir Khani won that.
I think most people did. I definitely did, but I also rate Amir Khani slightly higher than Damon Jackson, and that's edging into MMA math at that point anyways. But either way.
Yeah, back out.
Either way, yeah, all right, yeah. Either way, Amir Khani, I definitely miss believing in him. This is next fight is at 135. We have Trevin 5-star Jones taking on Javid Basharat here. This is another really good fight. I'm extremely excited to see this one. I love Trevin Jones. I get everybody's off the Trevin Jones bandwagon because he had the Saeed Yakub guillotine that happened to him. So like everybody just abandoned ship after falling in love with it. But I really like the guy. And I really like Javid Basharat, the Snow Leopard, 11-0 now. Has not faced the highest level of competition. It's definitely what stands out for the now Extreme Couture representative. I believe he was with London. Do you know where he was prior to Extreme Couture, Lewis?
I do not know.
Okay, I think it's London Top Team, but maybe I'm just misremembering that.
As in GB.
Yeah. But not positive. So either way,
it might be because he's a bantamweight. It might be.
Yeah,
they've got a lot of bantamweights.
Yeah, his last 2 fights have been the best level of competition. He's gotten finishes in all 11 of his wins, mostly using the grappling, but has good stand-up as well. I will say Orhan Kahalan, the guy you took on who was 16-0, that is one of the softer 16-0s you're ever going to see in MMA, where you really go and break down that 16-0 fighter. He was not that good. But Basharat, he's beat who's in front of him. I think this is such a step up in competition, though, to Trevin 5-star Jones. I think Trevin Jones is extremely good. He is a guy who is, just I think, gotten in his own way at times, and definitely can happen here. He gets overwhelmed sometimes with the grappling, and that is where Javid, I think, has a huge advantage. On the feet, I think that Trevin Jones will be the faster guy and will be throwing more volume. So I'm curious to see how that helps him in this fight. Now 31 years old, had a good fight with Saeed prior to the loss. Put away Mario Batista in the second round. That's a really high-level win. Put away Timur Valiev and then got caught with weed, so it's a no contest.
It's a win.
And, yeah, it's a win. And those are two of the best wins you can get in this division coming into the UFC particularly. I mean, those are very legitimate guys. We saw how good Mario Batista looked in his last performance and really just put as a full game. Trevin Jones, he had trouble getting a fight afterwards, so he had 3 opponent changes prior to Syed Kakramanov taking the fight on short notice. Was originally supposed to go against Barcelos here, and obviously it was supposed to go against Barcelos in December. I apologize. And Trevin had to withdraw. I think he still had some complications from an injury. Barring that he's healthy, I really like Trevin in this fight. I think that Javid is still relatively untested. And I think that on the feet, there's a significant edge for Trevin to possibly exploit. I do think that Javid could sneak in a submission. That is often how Trevin loses. It's how Trevin lost in his last fight with the guillotine. You got some close decisions otherwise, and then a few grappling losses early on. And so I think it's a close fight. I really do. I like Trevin in this spot, though. I think that's a significant step up in competition for Javid. And, I just think that Trevin, very, very desperate spot for him. If he loses here, they could cut him from the UFC, which would be super disappointing, and I would disagree with. But I do think that Trevin's going to come into this fight pretty focused. I think he puts together full performance. Not sure if it's a finish or not, but I like Trevin 5 stars as an underdog here. I really do. I think he's got a great shot to win.
Ooh, okay.
Go over you, Josh.
I like Trevin 5-star Jones. I think that's a fantastic nickname. I was impressed with the Mario Batista finish. That really opened my eyes to Trevin 5-star Jones. That was that finish. And Javid, you see his record in the submissions, like you said, that's a little bit scary because he could get Trevin Jones in a submission and probably finish him if he could get him to that point. But it's also his UFC debut. He hasn't fought a guy that's probably as fast as Trevin Jones, is as crisp as Trevin Jones. You said basically, all the good things. It is a fight that he does need to win, and it's a fight I do think he wins. And to the card to this point, I'm not confident in any of my picks so far. Like, this is a really close card. So with that being said, I do like Trevin as well. I'm gonna pick him. UFC debut for Javid. I don't see him having a successful one. That's just me. I don't know. We'll see. I got Trevin though. Bye.
All right, Lewis, educate us on the former Cage Warriors representative.
There's one thing to note, which is something that Javid has 100% finish rate. Mm-hmm. Right? Every single time he steps in there, he puts his foot on the gas and he goes for your weak spot. He will know for sure Trevin cannot defend his neck. He will leech and grab onto that thing for dear life and he will choke him unconscious. I really rate Trevin Jones. I think his record is super unfair to how good he actually is. Doesn't show off his skills. What he did to Valiev after taking that on 5 days notice, he got his ass kicked for 2 rounds. And in the second round, he caught him. He was just waiting for that perfect shot he knew there was an opening for. He waited until Valiev slowed down and he landed it, knocked him clean out. Beautiful shot, especially from this weight class. He's got power. If Javid isn't careful, he's going to run into that power because Trevin has pinpoint accuracy, hits the target perfectly every single time. Very rarely throws a strike in just to pepper him. I know you don't want the comparison, but like a Darren Till, where he won't throw it just for the sake of throwing it, he'll throw it for a reason. It has to land. It's the perfect shot. And they annoy me a lot of the times, but for Trevin, it works because he's got power. Javid is good everywhere. He's very good on the ground, and he's very good in a clinch. I could see him easily tripping him, grabbing a Darce choke, grabbing a neck, grabbing a guillotine, anything like that. The only thing I worry about is there's a lot of hype with Javid and a lot of pressure. And it'll either go to his head, where he'll fail. It'll be too much for the guy because the level of competition, granted, it's not there, but he's faced guys that are similar to Trevin, in my opinion. I've got Javid. I think Javid can do it. I think he's going to snatch a neck. I think Trevin definitely should not be cut from UFC. 100% not. Yeah. I would feel that would be awful because he's very good. But I think Javid is the real deal. I really like him.
Okay.
I am trying to find where he trained in the UK because I knew he's based in the UK with his parents, but I didn't know.
Maybe London shoot fighting. Maybe I'm wrong. Honestly, Yesterday I thought Gadzi Rabanov and Loic Radodanov are brothers. So at times, I get a little bit loose with my facts before double checking them. But the things I'm not loose with is the analysis of the fight here. So we got.
I think it's shoot fighters.
Yeah, so Josh and I have the underdog here in Trevin Jones at plus 125, minus 145, Javid Best for Lewis there. Decent odds there, whichever side you're on. I'd be interested to see how much Trevin's been working on his submission game. If he's able to do that or not, remains to be seen. But I do think that he's got to be aware that's where this fight is going. Next fight of the night, speaking
we need to talk for this one. Do me and Josh need to be here for this one?
Yeah, exactly. I'll keep it short.
I'll let you just do this one, dude.
Speaking of submissions, Jillian Robertson taking on JJ Aldridge. Jillian Robertson taking this fight on about 12 days notice. Has had short notice fights before, hasn't been a problem, but yeah, there's a striker versus a grappler to make it a very layman terms. JJ Aldridge has very good boxing. She has good takedown defense. She has good volume. Definitely completely see the route that she can take to win this fight. I think that she's got to not get taken down. When Jillian gets on top of you, she stays on top of you. She has really good top control, ends up going for the finish. Got to say, I really like Jillian in the spot. I think that she's faced fighters similar to JJ Aldridge before, and I'm not sure JJ's faced a grappler to her level yet. So of the two of these, who's seeing kind of the level, I would say JJ. So Jillian here for me is a really good pick at minus 120. Obviously, I'm picking Jillian, and I like her to finish this fight. It will be her sixth finish of her UFC career, which is a UFC flyweight record, and hopefully she can get her first bonus. But I like Jillian. Josh, what's your thoughts on this fight? Also, Aiden, what's going on? Glad you could join. Hopefully, we can give you some knowledge.
Yeah, hopefully. Jillian Robertson in this spot. I mean, with this card, it's going to be hard to get 50K, I feel like. But Jillian's very capable of doing so. If she can get JJ Aldridge to the ground, I think it's going to be almost a wrap at that point. JJ is going to have to be very busy on the feet and just kind of, make it stay on the feet. Throw a lot of hands in this fight, not really throw a lot of leg kicks, because Jillian will take advantage of that. So she's going to have to really pop the jab, really get in Jillian's face. I think
she never throws leg kicks anyways.
Yeah, exactly. So I think Jillian could get it to the ground, capitalize, and then obviously, we can't pick against Jillian. She was on the breakdown show last week. We can't go against Jillian Robertson. And she's also a very skilled, very well-rounded, very young fighter, very bright prospect. I really like Jillian Robertson. As Lewis would say, I rate her. I rate Jillian Robertson's game. And this is a big win if she gets it done. It's a notable name. A lot of people do know who JJ Aldridge is. If you're an MMA fan, JJ Aldridge. So if Jillian Robertson gets it done, then we're rolling, baby. Jillian Robertson keeps going and keeps climbing. At that point, she's gonna get those bigger names, I think, after this fight.
Yeah. Do you guys not say rate?
I love it. I say it all the time now.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, Aaron knows where I stand with strikers v grappler matchups. It's JJ has one advantage, and she has better hands, and that's just, to be frank, that's it. But that's all she's worked on for a whole game. Her whole game is going to be if Jillian's not necessarily like she's not a wrestler. She scrambles. She's like a Tony Ferguson, how she gets a submission. She scrambles the shit out of people, and they have no idea where they are. And they start drowning very quickly because Jillian is excellent at grabbing anything. She grabs your arm. She's like, right, we're going for the arm then. She's not picky. She's great everywhere. She can grab a neck. She can take you back. She can mount you. She can elbow from top. She can grab an arm and arm bar you. She's a finisher. JJ Aldridge is not a finisher. She will grind a decision, and I don't see Jillian letting that happen. I think she's going to push pace. She's looking to prove a point. She's got a chip on her shoulder here with, the finish rate. This is, again, not on the main card, annoys me because of there's a fight on the main card. I would easily swap for this one, but again, I'm a little biased as well now. But yeah, I think this is Jillian's fight. Even taking my biased hat slightly off, I think I would bet Jillian no matter what in this because JJ, I don't know if she has an answer to Jillian Robertson's submission game because the wrestling isn't Aldridge's skill, and unless she's been working tirelessly to stand up constantly and get up from takedowns, which she wouldn't have been because this is a late replacement fight, I'm backing Jillian in this. Grappler over striker all day, and that's coming from someone that used to strike for a living.
The only fight that's not close on paper is the Miranda Maverick fight. Every single fight is super close on paper.
Yeah, I agree. And with this fight, I mean, there's a level of competition that JJ Aldridge has beaten in it. The highest level has been Courtney Casey by split decision. I don't think she's faced a grappler at Jillian's level. Yeah, I think that Courtney Casey won that fight. So either way, I like Jillian at minus 120, plus 100 on JJ Aldridge. Very closely lined fight, but we're with the slight favorite here in Jillian the Savage Robertson. My hair will be red on fight night, so let's go, G. Always excited to see her fight. So looking forward to that one, of course. And back to an actual analysis from me because I get that one. You're going to take it with a grain of salt. I understand. But we're back to the 170 division. Welterweight, Matt Summonsberger taking on AJ Fletcher. This is another just excellent fight. Really close matchup. And looking forward to seeing AJ Fletcher's debut, The Ghost. My concern in this fight, if I had one, is that Summonsberger is a big welterweight. I think there could be a significant size difference between the two of these guys. Fletcher looks like he could make 155 perhaps, or maybe he's one of these 165 kind of tweener type of guys. But, that being said, I do still really like a lot of aspects of Fletcher's game. He's got good power on the feet. He's finished all 9 of his opponents. He's really athletic. He's only 5'10". I think he's maybe even a little shorter than that, taking on the 6'1", 75-inch of Summonsberger. It's going to be nearly an 8-inch reach advantage, if not more. That is just enormous. Summonsberger, I think, really does use that reach with regards to his striking too. So for Fletcher in this fight, he's got to resort, I think, to wrestling at points because I think he's not going to be able to completely touch him. Otherwise, I think that Summonsberger has a lot of power, hits guys at the end of his punches a lot. So, with Fletcher, he's got to kind of break a little bit of his tendency here. He tends to like to stay on the feet. He does have 2 submission wins. I think he's got to work, or 3 submission wins, I should say. I think he's got to work the grappling here, and he's got to work the wrestling. I think that's where Summonsberger can be exploited in this matchup. I do think that Summonsberger has really good movement, though. His takedown defense is solid as well, and he's going to be huge. He's going to be a much bigger guy. He's got, I think, a slight power edge as well to AJ Fletcher. That reach really worries me in this fight. I think it's just going to be a little bit too much. A 9-0 AJ Fletcher hasn't faced a crazy level of competition yet. Leonardo Damiani, the guy he faced on the Contender Series, looked like he was so not ready to be there. It was insane. But your fight was in front of you. Props to Fletcher. Had a really impressive finish. But I like Summonsberger in this fight. I just think that reach and that size is going to be way too much. I don't think Fletcher is going to be able to get it to the ground consistently or have that be the route. So I like Sullensberger. I think that Fletcher's tough. I think it goes to decision, but I'll take Sullensberger. I think that he's just going to be – it's just the size and the stand-up variety for Sullensberger in this one. So, Lewis, your thoughts?
I like that point, but I'm going to go the other way with the weight. I think it's going to cause an issue in the later rounds for him. When you've got a wrestler tirelessly grinding on you, putting his weight on you, especially leaning against the cage, that's all he's going to be looking for. He's looking to rest his head on his chest, make sure he's got the handcuff so he can't hit him in the face, watch out for the knees, just wear on him, basically. And I think the weight's going to really affect Matt in this one because AJ's relentless. He's a good finisher. He's everywhere on the floor. He's good. He's got excellent submissions. He's got excellent killer instincts. If he hurts you, he doesn't stop until it's finished. He's got a great gas tank. And I think round one, you could see Matt really shine, and it might look like a mismatch, to be honest. AJ might have nerves, but I think even though the competition's not there, you beat what's in front of you. He's smashed what's in front of him. And I think that's where I'm looking. It's not he's just won. He's dominated them all. And I think it's going to be a tougher test, but I think he's more than ready for the UFC. I think he's definitely ready for someone like Matt. I think that's a very good matchup, and I'm going to back the Ghost in his debut. I think he can do it. I think it's going to be round 2, I think maybe round 3. I think he'll start if he can't get the takedowns in round 1, and he decides to stand and trade with Matt. He's probably going to give up the round, but rounds 2 and 3. Push the pace. You might see the takedown, and then it might come easier the next time, and easier the next time. He might hold him down the whole fight, and I believe if he gets him down, he's not getting him back up. Weight doesn't matter. Size don't matter on the ground, mate.
Sure.
That's the thing.
That's like, yeah, it's the odds.
Yeah, fair enough.
The odds are really scaring me in this matchup because Sullensberger minus 200. You're like, damn, that's eye-opening for me. There's so much to like about Matt Sullensberger. When he hits you, you're going like people go out from his shots. Like they're not just getting TKO'd, like they're getting taken out by his shots. So he's got super power in this division, and I really do like Matt Sullensberger. Love watching him fight. AJ Fletcher had the best knockout. Maybe not the best performance, but I would almost say he had the best performance on the Contender Series this past season. I've been waiting for his UFC debut. I've been itching to watch AJ Fletcher fight in the UFC, and this is a super tough fight for him. But I mean, at that plus 200, it's so hard to like take him. But if you take the odds out of it, and I look at these two guys and their skill sets, like Lewis said, AJ Fletcher is a finishing machine. I think he's going to be a really good rising prospect in this sport, and I think it starts on Saturday night against beating a guy like Matt Sullensberger. You're taking your career and you're putting it on, a great trajectory if you get it done. And I do think he does get it done. I do like AJ Fletcher by, maybe decision. That's a tough fight.
So, Fletcher's a big dog right now. Plus 180, some money has come in on Fletcher. He was over plus 200 at one point. Minus 210 on Matt Sullensberger. I'm not betting Matt at that price, but I am going to still go with him. I just think that Matt hasn't beat the craziest level of competition either in the UFC. He's gotten wins over guys like Moutinho, Sano. He's got wins over Carlton Minus, one of the worst guys to be signed to the UFC in the last 5 years. Again, both guys are kind of just beating who's in front of them. I do think this is a challenging debut, but I am surprised that the odds are so much with Sullensberger. But I'm going to go with him here. But a plus 200 shot on AJ Fletcher, very worthy. We're to the main card, and this might be the easiest fight of the night to break down. We got Bruno Silva taking on Alex Pereira. They might as well make the floor lava in this one because it's not going to the ground. Neither one of these guys is taking it to the ground. They're going to stand, they're going to bang, and it's not going 15 minutes. I'm almost willing to guarantee both those things. I just think that Bruno Silva and Alex Pereira, you know what you're getting with these guys. Alex Pereira is only 4-1 in MMA, but this is not a fight that's going to test his MMA. This is a fight that's going to test his chin, his ability to take a shot from 4-ounce gloves. You know, we got the sizzling going on in the kitchen right now. This fight's sizzling. What can I say? I think that Silva, by all means, could catch Pereira in this fight and put him away. He's got that kind of power. I mean, what he did to the Beverly Hills Ninja in his last fight was just frightening. He got caught a few times, too, in that fight. And I just don't think that he's going to be able to take the shots Pereira has for him in this. I think Pereira is just the better kickboxer here, and I don't think that if Silva, if he goes to the takedowns, I think that would be ill-advised anyways. But I like Pereira in this spot. There's levels to this game of the striking, and Pereira's at like nearly the top. And I'm buying into it here, man. I like him to get the finish, and I think it happens in round 1.
Wow.
Someone's going to sleep.
Someone's going to sleep.
It's more of like, there's really no real breakdown for me in this fight. It's what do I want to happen? And Alex Pereira, I want this guy to keep winning, and I want to see him fighting. So I want a really quick finish. But like you mentioned, Bruno Silva's last knockout was devastating against Jordan Wright, who's a pretty damn good fighter too. He was undefeated.
I really like Jordan Wright more than most people.
Yeah, and he was undefeated at one point until Joaquin Buckley came and put his lights out too. But Alex Pereira, I just want this to keep going. I want the prospect to rise. I want I want it all. I want Alex Pereira all the way to the top.
We want the Israel Adesanya fight.
Maybe I just want to see him against top middleweights, and if he can really keep knocking them out, then I'm gonna be excited that night if he gets it done.
Yeah, I will say the Michailidis debut was not impressive, but I just don't think Silva does any of the things that Michailidis tried to do in that fight. I really don't.
You don't think that was the guys are just a pure black belt grappler, and Pereira held him off no problem. I thought it was pretty good just to showcase. They gave him a tough test in the first one. Just here's a grappler.
Yeah, it was just nerve wracking. More I meant nerve wracking.
I see. Okay. I remember when Pereira knocked out Dustin Jacoby back in Glory 13, like 14, on. Something like that.
Yeah.
A long time ago.
Yep.
It was like sub 2 minutes, I'm pretty sure. It's absolutely beautiful. Counter left hook, over the hand with the right. Beautiful. He could definitely do that, all day to Bruno Silva. Mm-hmm. The difference is I will give you one fight that will make you go, maybe. And that is Khalil Roundtree, Gokhan Saki. You've got someone that is an elite kickboxer in one, comes over to MMA, gets smoked down the pipe by an ex-fat guy. Khalil Roundtree, that is before he went to Thailand. That is before any of that. He was just a mediocre MMA fighter in the UFC. And I think that is more than fair to say. And he just did one straight, right down the pipe, one shot. One shot is all it took to knock out an elite level kickboxer with over 100 fights. Pereira.
Those 4-ounce gloves hit different.
They do, man. And Bruno Silva's got a lot of experience. He's got a lot of knockout power. He's got brilliant timing. He's a great kickboxer in his own right. He is not an Alex Pereira type kickboxer, but it translates different to MMA. He might pose a different game plan. He might go, do you know what? I don't want to trade with you. I know I'm better on the ground. I might just try my luck. He might
No way.
He might.
No way.
You never.
No way.
You never.
No, he won't. He will not do that.
You think
he will not do that. He's going to test it. Yep. Can he pass it?
He's going to test it.
He's going to test. Yes. He won't shoot once.
I'm not convinced I hope he does, because we all want to see a fight. And in a straight fight, I agree. I think Alex Pereira will win. Yeah.
Right.
I think Alex Pereira is too technical. He's too savvy. And he's got absolute sensational low kicks. The power kicks he possesses is scary. Like, my shins are mahogany. His are like adamantium. They're ridiculous. He's, if you touch his shin, you're going to guess your thumb's going to swell up. I've got Alex Pereira as well, just for the same reason Josh does, the dream. He just wants the dream.
We're all living the dream
versus
here
Pereira in MMA.
Yeah, exactly. Minus 180 on Pereira. Pretty heavy favorite here. Plus 160 on Bruno Silva. I don't blame you if you bet the Bruno Silva. If you can separate your dreams from reality, props to you. This is one where I'm living the dream, but yeah, it's going to be. I hope it's a great fight. I hope it's not. If it's a snoozer, Bruno Silva won. Like, just realize that. So, if you're betting that, you're putting that into the ether. But all seriousness, I think it's going to be a really great fight. Really, the whole main card is filled with great fights.
Yeah.
Next fight is another example of that in Drew Dober taking on the short notice replacement. This is at 155, not a catch weight. This is how you do short notice if you're going to do it.
You called him Drew Dober?
Drew Dober. Drew Dober. I call him Drew Dober, yeah.
Real quick, Aaron. Who was it meant to be again? Who was he meant to face?
Do
you know?
Who was Drew meant to face?
Yeah.
It'll say on Tapology.
I can't remember.
Yeah.
I just want to make sure
because
it'll affect my it'll affect my pick.
Okay. Oh, I thought you were putting me on the spot like I was supposed to.
No. Sorry. No.
Oh no, yeah, it was Ricky. Yeah, no, it was Rick Glenn. Ricky Glenn,
okay.
which honestly is a pretty similar type of, similar yet different in a lot of ways. Terence McKinney has just been on a roll. I'll just get to that real quick. The Fares-Ziam fight dispelled so many rumors of Terence McKinney being a one-round fighter, being one-dimensional, just a lot of things that just aren't true. He's a very good wrestler, very good grappler. I do think the gas tank is learning how to manage that better and better as he's going along in his career. All really, really encouraging things here. And now we've got another really, really impressive banger of a fight here. I think this is another one that's very possibly fight of the night. Drew Dober. I call him Drew Dober. Whatever. It's all good. Either way, I really think that this is going to be a fascinating fight. Drew coming off of 2 straight losses, albeit to Islam Makhachev and Brad Riddell. So 2 of the best in the division. Can't really shame him too much here. But man, this is a tough break for Drew, in my opinion, to have to face the surging Terence McKinney on even on short notice. Terence has shown that he likes to do this in fights. He's done this a few times in his career now, where he's taken fights very closely together after wins. I think that's because he typically gets a little bit bigger in between camps, but keeps himself a certain size for a certain amount of time. So he's like, while I'm at this size, might as well get the time in. I think that he's also going into a matchup with Drew that it's kind of, in a lot of ways, similar to the Fares-Ziam preparation he had. So he's a lot of, I think that is camp from that camp transfers over to this. I think that he's going to want to push the wrestling again, going to want to push this to the grappling. I think that's where he has the biggest advantage. I think that on the feet, it's, going to be a long night for him against someone like Drew. Drew is just technically so much more sound, volume-wise, and just intangibles. I think he really has it all marked. But I think that Terence McKinney gets this down to the ground, works the ground and pound, tires out Drew, slows him down, and then gets a stoppage somewhere in the second round. Yeah, I like Terence McKinney. I'm riding the Terence McKinney train. I'm all aboard. Terence McKinney is my pick in this spot to get the biggest win of his career on short notice. I'll say by knockout, ground and pound.
Dude. Lewis, you want?
Yeah, sure, man.
Yeah, jump in.
I'm not. I picked Terence against for us. What people maybe that don't grapple don't understand. Yeah, man, we got lucky with that one, I think, because I was so torn. It was a real head and heart moment because I love Fares as well. But what people that don't grapple, I don't think, don't understand is how good the grappling of Terence was in that fight. How quick he took the back and sunk in 2 hooks. That is not easy to do. For us, it's no joke on the ground as well. He is very good, high level, and he's a prospect in himself. Terence is elite, man. He really showed, he's got the wrestling pedigree. He's got fast hands, powerful strikes, pinpoint accuracy, and jiu-jitsu that we hadn't seen. It's not just, he's got a bit of grappling. He is a full-on mixed martial artist. There is no holes in his game that I have seen. Maybe in his last 6 fights, he's looked perfect. The issue is Drew Dober is physically a powerhouse. He has so much experience. He has fought the who's who. He's super durable, and he's got power. He's got serious power. He's got a beautiful left hook as well. Counters beautifully with the body kick. It's a real tough one for me. I'm backing Drew in this. I think it might be a step too early for Terence. And if he faces a little adversity, I want to see how he comes back through it. I love Drew Dober to bits. I like Terence. I like what I've seen. But I think it might be he might be chewing a bit more than he can swallow here. So I'm going to go with Drew Dober just based on experience. He's not out of the game. He has fought the highest of the highs. I thought he was very competitive with a straight kickboxing fight with Brad Riddell. I don't think it's going to be that simple against Terence. I think it is going to be a mixed martial arts bout. It's going to go everywhere. But I think Drew has more than enough gas, and he's got a good gas tank. He's got absolute unit. He's an absolute unit, like physical specimen as well. Yeah. He doesn't really get fat. He's always training. I think he's a proper professional as well. I'm going to go Drew. I might be living to regret that next week when Terence 1 minute punches him out, but I'm backing Drew.
My only concern in this.
Go ahead, Josh.
My only concern is that Drew Dober has a massive chin, and if Terence could probably find it too.
Big target.
Big target, and if he puts him out in one round, I think we're all gonna go crazy. We're gonna just be like, "Holy shit! Did Terence McKinney just do this again?" But as Lewis said, it's too early, right? It's too early for Terence McKinney to fight a guy like Drew Dober. Drew Dober, Islam Makhachev, dude, like Brad Riddell, really good fighters. I think Drew Dober has a strength advantage in this fight. We'll see how they look during the face-off because I'm really interested at how they'll kind of be sized up next to each other. I think Dober has a strength advantage, so I think, therefore, he's going to have the ground advantage. On the feet, I think Terence McKinney has the advantage, but I think Drew Dober is going to be smart enough to know I got to take this guy to the ground and just kind of grind him out. I think he could grind out a decision, but there's always that chance that Terence McKinney could just knock him out. So,
you think he's going to take Terence down?
I think he's going to take Terence down.
I think the other way around. If that's the way to win for Terence, oh man, okay, that's an interesting thought.
Yeah,
that's interesting, man.
I would be very shocked if that. Yeah, I think Terence, and I do think Terence is. I think that Terence is going to be a little bit smaller, but I think strength is going to be pretty even, especially with regards to grappling strength. But we'll see. Drew Dober is he's a minus 170 favorite right now. You can get Terence McKinney at plus 150. I love the price there for Terence. I'm going to ride with it till the wheels fall off. So let's go, Terence. Let's get finished. Let's make it quick. Yeah, let's make it quick. Dober, big spot for him. He's got to win this one. 2 straight losses to very high levels of competition.
If Terence does win this fight, he is the real deal because Drew Dober is no joke. He is serious.
I hope he wins. I really do hope he wins, but I just think it's too. I think it's just maybe it's not too early, but I think it is. Drew Dober's good.
Yeah, it's a tough fight for both guys on short notice. I think so.
It's a great opportunity for Terence.
We're gonna move on.
Yeah.
Just like the last fight, you just want McKinney to win. Maybe match him with big names. I don't know. Justin is my psychologist apparently. But yeah, we're gonna move on to the next fight here. This is at 205 pounds. Khalil Roundtree, Carl Robertson. This is a interesting fight. These are two guys who at times have looked really brilliant inside the UFC, and at other times have made you just kind of want to slap your head and be like, "What are you doing? What are you doing?" To both guys. This is just kind of one for me with which guy has his head on more straight. I think that could be the real difference in the win here. I think Khalil Roundtree is going to have the advantage at the beginning with regards to power, but we see how Khalil Roundtree shows up to most of these fights. He's not in the best of shape, and he's not gotten into better shape. And with regards to who of these two is the more complete MMA fighter, that's Carl Robertson all day. Carl Robertson, I think, has kind of underrated grappling that really does show up, especially against guys with next to no grappling. He is not shy about going to the grappling against guys who have no grappling. I don't think Khalil Roundtree has much grappling or gas. I think Carl has to survive the first, round. I think the first round he could lose easily. But I think after that, this becomes more and more Carl's fight. On the feet, I think he can compete, but I think he's going to look to use his grappling, and I think that he could get a submission of Khalil. It's hard for me to predict that, but I'm going to predict a submission victory for Carl Robertson in this fight at some point. I think he works the grappling and submits a gassed out Roundtree. I could see Roundtree with a rear naked choke, not even underneath the neck, tapping out to it type of thing, like a neck crane type of tap out. I just think that Roundtree has a lot of quit in him after his best shots don't work. So maybe his best shots work here and he puts away Robertson in the first round. But this is a spot where I could see Robertson dropping the first and winning the rest of the fight or finishing it. So I'm going to take Carl Robertson in the spot. I just think he's the better MMA fighter.
Yeah, I mean,
Lewis or Josh, go ahead.
Yeah, I had the pleasure of sitting down with Carl Robertson. He came in the studio and we had a chat about his career in this fight. He's been training at Glory MMA in Kansas City, and you said it, like, a lot of people don't know how good he is. They know people who've been around him. They know, like, he's a little different, but people don't know Carl Robertson is fucking dangerous. Khalil Roundtree has turned that corner. You saw in his last post fight, he's like, I really just got to trust myself now because I'm at that point where I'm about to take off, and like whoever's fighting.
He says that after every win, after every time he's figured it out, it's always like, now I've got it figured out. Now, like, this is like the third or fourth renaissance of Carl Roundtree. Or
he backed it up, though, against Modestas Bukauskas, and RIP Modestas' knee and Modestas. I miss you, buddy. But nobody wants to stand with Carl Robertson. Nobody wants to stand and bang with Carl Robertson. Khalil Roundtree is going to try, and I think Carl Robertson's going to lift that head kick in like 0.2 seconds. It's going to be to the ground, straight to Khalil's head, and he's going to knock him out. He's going to knock him out in this fight easily. I love Carl in this fight.
Awesome. All right, Lewis, what's your thoughts on this one?
The complete 180.
I had a feeling.
I love Khalil Roundtree, and that's coming from someone that adores Modestas Bukauskas. The only thing I will say is Modestas Bukauskas has had a compromised knee for 4 years and never had surgery, because you get surgery on that knee. It's very expensive. And Khalil banged on that knee with a big drum and popped it open. Modestas is fine now, by the way, as well. But
of course, he's
exactly, he's the beast. But if Khalil comes out like he's just shot out of Thailand again, like he did against Eric Anders, you remember that fight? Eric Anders was seriously a big favorite in that fight, I remember, and he was massive. Khalil pieced him up. He went 3 rounds. Gas tank wasn't a problem. That was the first time I've seen Khalil put everything together. I completely agree. He's got no ground game. I think he would actually suit a very good kickboxing career, Khalil Roundtree. I think he's got excellent Thai boxing now. He really showed it. He's got a very high guard. He stands like a Thai fighter now after training in Thailand and living out there. His guard is up here. His elbows are to his chin. And he marches you forward. He lands the dig-in low kicks, and he tries the left hook to the body. It's going to be really hard to get his combinations going on someone like Carl, who's got great movement, great striking himself, and is a lot better on the ground, to tell you that. All the signs point to this is kind of tailor-made for Carl, but there's just something about Khalil where I just feel like he's got the one-punch knockout power and brilliant timing, and he sets the shot up. He doesn't just throw and hope. He is setting it up. He's got a beautiful jab. He has good instep, lands the body, comes over the top with the right. It's a beautiful body head, and he does it time and time again. He did it to Eric Anders and whooped him. He did it to Paul Craig originally. Remember, he's knocked out big names here, big boys. Johnny Walker lost. Anyone can get caught with that explosivity. And Ian Coutalaba is just an absolute nutcase that just grabbed him to the floor and elbowed him. But I like Khalil Roundtree in this. Apologies that I'm going against Carl here, but no, I like Khalil. I don't think he's going to finish him, though. I think it's going to be a close fight, and I think it's going to be a 29-28 kind of thing. It's going to be two rounds to one individual, and I think Khalil's going to nick 2. I think the first one and the second one.
Fair enough.
Yeah. Carl's going to head.
Fair enough, Khalil.
Maybe. Maybe. Yeah.
I'm gonna say a rear naked choke for Carl, and neck cranks count for that being right.
Khalil Roundtree. I'm shocked that Khalil is the favorite. I am shocked that he's the favorite.
Oh,
Yeah,
Khalil's
not that
underdog.
Carl-
+1.
I don't think Carl has like
Khalil's
a big
underdog.
ego. I don't think it's going to the ground though. I think Carl, like, I don't think he's got a big ego, but I think he wants to show that he's willing to strike with Khalil for 15 minutes, and if Khalil's willing to, then he's going to go.
Khalil will definitely be willing to. So
Yeah, that's his best.
Khalil
That's
will
his only
definitely be
game.
willing
Yeah.
to. So
I don't
yeah,
think it's gonna-
+115 on Khalil Roundtree, -130 on Carl Robertson. That should be an interesting one. Looking forward to that one. But yeah, we got, I believe, 3 fights remaining on the card, and they, that one on paper didn't look that great, but honestly, when I really looked into it, I think it's going to be a pretty great fight. This next fight, I'm really looking forward to this one. It's in the featherweight division. A guy who I really rate highly in Alex Caceres, taking on Super Sadiq Youssef. I think that this is a really, really actually interesting fight. I think a lot of people are coming into this and just writing up Super Sadiq Youssef as, kind of just running through. Caceres Sadiq has probably one of the best Contender Series fights ever against Mike Davis, Beast Boy, there, and looked really good there. Got the victory by decision in that one. Ended up going into the UFC, taking on Suman Mokhtarian, putting him away as you should any Mokhtarian. Mokhtarians are just not good. Both of them were ass. Shaman Marias got pushed a little bit in that one, but did, cruise to a decision for the most part. Put away Gabriel Benitez the way you should put away Gabriel Benitez. Andre Fili, closer fight again, but did eke that one out. But it, that was, a very, very competitive fight, and I do think that, Sadiq can sometimes, fight these fights a little bit closer than they should be fought and not use his full game plan. But, Visceral here is saying Youssef is going to run through Caceres. I know at least one person on this panel thinks that. I think it's going to be a really close fight. I think it's going to be very competitive. The Arnold Allen fight, obviously, a very different level of competitor there from Caceres. Sadiq didn't look terrible in that fight. He just didn't quite have enough.
He got dropped through.
I mean,
Arnold Allen's nasty.
Arnold Allen.
Yeah, exactly. I think Arnold Allen's another. Yeah, and well, either way, Arnold Allen not fighting too often, so it's still on his 1-year game plan. He's going to be a prospect till he's 40 because he never fights. But he did get the win over Sadiq. There wasn't any sort of, and Sadiq, there was some arguments with the Andre Fili fight too. These fights have been pretty actually competitive with Sadiq, and with Caceres, I think that he's been on a little bit of a resurgence lately. Obviously, the 5 straight wins over not the craziest level of competition. Steven Peterson, Chase Hooper, Austin Springer, Kevin Kroom, and Sung Woo Choi. Sung Woo Choi definitely the most impressive of those wins. With regards to Sadiq, I don't know. I'm just not completely sold on him yet. And this win over Caceres would prove a lot to me with regards to it. But for me, I think that Caceres has shown a lot more maturity to his game recently. Maybe that does have to do with the level of competition he's been facing in his last 5. 3 to 4 of those guys really not very good. And this is quite a step up in competition for Caceres. And when he tends to take these steps up, he does tend to stumble. So I am going to go with Sadiq. I'm not betting it. I think it's going to be a very close decision. And I do see a world where 2 of the judges are saying Caceres' name 29-28. So I think that Caceres has a lot of potential tricks that Sadiq may kind of struggle with. I think that for Sadiq, the cerebral game plan sometimes can kind of give him a little more issues. Obviously, he should be favored. I just don't think he should be favored by as much as he is. I think it's going to be a close fight. might be a little disappointing for some people. But I got Sadiq, but I'm not super confident in it like a lot of people. What's your thoughts on this one, Lewis? I know you're a big fan of Sadiq.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of Sadiq and not a fan of Caceres. I think Caceres is on the luckiest win streak of his life. Chase Hooper is shit. Steven Peterson is shit. Austin Springer is shit. That is the blunt of it. Chase Hooper should not be in the UFC. He's a young man that has not even developed his body yet. That is good at jiu-jitsu. That's it. He got unfairly. I will say the Choi fight was very good. That is a very good win. The Kroon fight, I apologize because I'm not a massive Kroon fan. Byers. Sorry, Josh, but it's still a good name. But the Choi fight was the one that made me go, all right, not bad. But Choi is awful at defending his back. Terrible. And what Caceres did, he had a good game plan and he exploited it. It's the same thing with Yusuf. Yusuf, if you're going to get him, you're going to sub him. Because there's no way... If Arnold Allen broke his hand and dropped him 3 times and could not finish Yusuf, Alex Caceres couldn't finish Chase Hooper. He's not finishing Yusuf. Not at all. Yusuf has so much pressure, heavy hands, beautiful body shots, overhand hooks. His clinch game with one arm grabs into an uppercut. Devastating. He's very exciting. But the one thing I agree with you is he lacks concentration and he can switch off. And that's where I'm worried. If Yusuf, I think this is going to be I think he is going to run through Caceres. If Caceres wins this, it's not to me going to, I don't want to be horrible to him but I don't think it's going to be Caceres was amazing. I think it's going to be Sadiq was shit. And that sounds a bit harsh because Alex is on a 5-fight win streak. He's turned his little reputation around. He's made it onto the main card for once. He was always the early prelim opener. He's got awesome personality. His style of fighting is very entertaining. I think he's very overrated, and this card should be swapped with the Jillian one, you know what I mean? This should be on the prelim for me. But I like Sadiq in this. I'm a lot more confident than you are, but there is a couple holes in Sadiq's game I think that Alex can definitely exploit. I just don't think he has the capability to do it. I think he's not the individual to beat Sadiq Yusuf.
Yeah. It's awesome.
I just don't think this is...
Go ahead, Aaron.
But go ahead, Josh.
Okay.
I just don't think this is the slam dunk. Sorry.
There's a slight delay, yeah.
Go ahead, Aaron.
No, my connection's bad, so go ahead, Josh. Sorry.
Okay. I mean, after the Chase Hooper fight, I think Caceres got on the mic and he said, I'm going to put together these victories and I'm going to become a champion or I'm going to get to the belt. And I was thinking McGregor popped into my head. I was like, shut your mouth. There's no way that's going to happen. But he's backed it up and he keeps wrapping up these victories or raking them off. Keeps on doing it. But I see this fight in my head. I've seen it play out. It starts standing, obviously. And Caceres is going to throw up a lot of facades. Like his arms are just going to be like they're going to go up and down, and he's going to try to make Sadiq think. Sadiq is not going to bite on any of these facades on the feet, and he's just going to take straight power to Caceres and put him on the back foot, and he's going to get Caceres out of there. I see this fight playing out in my mind, and he's not going to fall for any of the tricks that Caceres has on the feet, and he's just a lot more physically imposing than Caceres, obviously. So I like Sadiq, and I mean, run through, whatever you want to call it. I just think he's going to march him down and really put the mitts on him and put the leg kick, put the liver kick on him, and Caceres is not going to be able to handle it. In my mind, that's it. I like Sadiq. Love Sadiq.
Yeah, so the odds, minus 230 on Sadiq Yusuf, plus 185 on Alex Caceres. Apologies, for whatever reason, the internet seems to be struggling this afternoon. So sorry if I was talking over you there, Josh.
You're good.
But all right, cool. Yeah, I'll figure that out after this stream here. But we are to the co-main event. This is at the bantamweight division. Another really good fight, a fight that Lewis has broken down over on his channel. You can check out the breakdown over there on Norton MMA. But Marlon Moraes taking on Yadong Song at 135. This is a really important fight for the division. We're going to learn if we're losing kind of a former contender, and Marlon Moraes, a guy who got so close so many times, and now it seems like the wars have caught up to him. Then the young kid Yadong Song, who seems to be getting better and better with each performance. Still very young in his career, but has had a ton of experience at the highest level. 18-6-1 for the Team Alpha Male representative. Kung Fu Monkey, still only 24 years old. Absolutely crazy that he's so young. Been in there with very good level of competition. Put away Julio Arce in the second round of his last fight. Looked really good there. Outlasted Casey Kenny in the fight previous to that. Kyler Phillips was able to eke out the decision there, but got a controversial decision over Marlon Vera. But, a lot of these fights are pretty close, but it's a ton of really good experience for him. The draw with Cody Stamann. I honestly thought he lost the Cody Stamann fight. I thought he lost the Marlon Vera fight. So those are a couple fights that I do think he did lose. But I do think that they were competitive, and the experience he gained from those fights, I think, has really, really helped him. And just with Marlon Moraes, I'm just really concerned with the amount of damage, his mileage at this point, and the way he's being put away in these fights is really, really bad. 3-fight losing streak for Marlon at this point. And he's only 33 years old, so definitely does have some time left, but don't like when he's getting grounded and pounded by Mirab Divashvili. He did have Mirab in trouble in that fight. It's the story of so many different fights with Marlon. He has the guy in trouble. He almost has him put away, and then something happens, and he gets hurt, and he gets put away. It's the real question here is, Yadong, he's really, I think, does have the ability to hurt Marlon. I think he's got legit hand speed, really good crisp combinations, and I think for the most part, he's shown the toughness. I'm a little worried that maybe Marlon's blitz is enough to put him away. I think he survives that first blitz, and this looks like a lot of Marlon Moraes' last few performances where maybe there's some good moments for Marlon early, but I think Yadong takes over as this fight goes. I think, Yadong is on the upswing and Marlon's on the downswing, and I just think these guys are in different parts in their career. I think Yadong lays it on him as this fight goes on and wins rounds 2 and 3. Maybe he drops the first round, but I like Yadong quite a bit in this one. I like him by decision. Go over to you first, Josh.
All right. Song Yadong is one of my favorite fighters on the entire UFC roster. It's really hard for me to get past that bias because I really think he's a really good prospect, really good fighter. Love everything about the guy. I love the Team Alpha Male connection with Uriah Faber. I think it just makes sense, and they look like a dynamic duo for years to come. Marlon Moraes, like in that Mirab fight, I just want to say that was one of the most entertaining fights I think I've ever seen. I think I want to go watch that after we wrap up here because what a roller coaster that was. That was just
that's a great fight.
Nuts. And Marlon Moraes, obviously, he's good in the beginning of the fight. We'll see, but I think, it's hard for me to get past that bias. I like Song Yadong way too much. I like his age. He's 24. He's already getting to the top of the division. Marlon Moraes, and you said it perfectly. You've got one trajectory one way and one trajectory the other way. Marlon Moraes, more than capable of finishing this fight, but no, not for me. I think Song Yadong wins convincingly, whether it be decision or whether it be a finish. I think it's just going to be a convincing win for Song Yadong, the young guy. Love him.
I like it. What's your thoughts on this one, Lewis? Besides the ones on the channel that we can check out.
Yeah. I'm trying not to repeat myself too much. I've got a 10-minute rant about this. I completely agree. He lost the Marlon Vera fight. He got very lucky with the decision there. Yes. But what he did show is that he can go hard with. I really rate Marlon Vera, and Marlon Vera showed a lot. He had a lot of trouble dealing with the speed of Song, the timing of Song. Song has what I like to call the ultimate blitz. You saw it against Julio Arce. You saw it against Perez, where he steps in with the lead leg, plants it down, ducks his head under, and hits with an overhand right. And he does it so fast, you're done. You don't see it coming. You're unconscious in one shot. The lead-up shot, the follow-up shots are just completely unnecessary. He's done it time and time again. He is Kung Fu Monkey for a reason. He's in and out, lightning speed. He's possibly the fastest bantamweight that I can think of. The Casey Kenny fight, I rate Casey Kenny very highly. You saw how he went to the decision with Dominic Cruz and really actually put Dominic in a lot of problems. Song exploited a lot of his gaps. I think taking these fights and losing them early on in his age and his career is very good for him. 24 years old, and he's already got this amount of experience. Been in the UFC since he was 19 years old. That is insane to me. He's explosive as hell, super fast hands, super durable, good everywhere, superb defensive wrestling. He doesn't use it offensively, which is an important thing. It's not going to matter in this fight to me because this is going to be a striker's delight. I disagree that Marlon is on a 3-fight losing streak. I'd say he's on a 5-fight losing streak because there's no fucking way he won that Jose Aldo fight. So he has lost 5 to me in a row.
Very competitive fight, regardless, though, with Jose Aldo. And Jose Aldo's debut at bantamweight, right?
Yeah, Jose won 2 and 3 easily. But again,
yeah, it's still. I mean, it's still. That's still impressive with how Jose's looked. I'll just play devil's advocate a little bit.
Okay, that was 4 fights ago now as well. So. But I 100% agree with you. He starts amazing. And that is the part where Song has to watch out because he is magic for a reason. He creates these openings with his legs. He's got the kicking game
or
is
knees.
Bread and butter. Exactly. Yeah, the Aljamain Sterling. He went for the kick and actually caught him in the knee because he didn't realize Sterling was going to lead so far in. Jimmy Rivera opened it straight away, set it up fake with the right, comes over the top with the left. I break it down on my channel and out cold. It's beautiful.
I'll say this. I think this is going to be the hardest that Yadong's been hitting a fight.
Absolutely. But one massive thing is, even if it goes the distance, Marlon Moraes, after 5 minutes, he is toast. Look at his body and look at the weight he is cutting. He should have been a weight class higher for sure. The guy is absolute superhero in looks, but I don't think he can go 3 rounds of Yadong's pace. Not a chance. Yadong's pace does not slow down. From minute 1 to minute 15, he is going 100 miles an hour and he does not stop. I think he's got an excellent clinch game, and much like Yan Xiaonan, ironically both Chinese, but you clinch him, hooks over the top, and that's how he gets out. He doesn't necessarily use underhooks the technique. He doesn't use hip pressure.
And by the way, not to get on a rant, but Yan beat Marina Rodriguez last week, and I'm the biggest Marina Rodriguez fan in the world. Yeah. That was a robbery. I'm glad Marina got
one clearly.
Yes, I agree. I've watched it several times now, so definitely. This should be a good one for Yadong. Yadong is a bigger favorite than Sadiq Youssef over Caceres here. I think that just shows the respect that Yadong has here. Minus 240 for Yadong Song over Marlon Moraes here. I have round two as well. And I wouldn't mind seeing Moraes go to 145, honestly. Appreciated Dave making the stop by. Mr. Fight Bananas himself. Good to see you. I make your return to one of these breakdowns. Go ahead.
Sorry, I was going to say, I also think Song can put him out cold. Not even like accumulative shots. I think he can do what he did to Perez, basically, and Julio Arce. I really do. I think Moraes has a suspect chin nowadays as well.
Definitely.
Yeah, should be a really good opportunity there. We have made it to the should be a good opportunity. We've made it to the main event of the evening here. This is 5 rounds at 205 pounds. All right, Themis, out of my ear. Mr. Byers is the future. You better say something nice about Lewis too. Otherwise, there we go. And Lewis is the truth. There we go. There you go. It means that you're honest. You don't lie like I do. I'm money, and Josh is the future because he's like 12 years old. So he still got his future in front of him here. But Thiago Santos, Magomed Ankalaev here in the main event. This is going to be a fantastic bout for however long it lasts. That being said, it's one of these where you look at the matchup right away, and I think most people look at the matchup right away. They think, Santos, man, he was great before he tore up both of his knees. But the the things he gave up to almost beat John Jones, he is going to continue to pay the price. And is Dave? Oh, Dave, you're saying give me the dog, Santos? Yeah, you want Santos? So okay,
I'll convince Dave the other way.
Well, I can.
I don't mind.
Well, the only argument I can see here is that the price on Santos is tempting. Santos is a plus 425 underdog. Magomed Ankalaev is a minus 550 favorite. That is crazy. But Magomed is the truth, man. I mean, plain and simple, he is one of the best 205ers in the world. He is so good everywhere. He is 1 second away from being undefeated still to this day. One Paul Craig triangle second away from being undefeated. So other than that, he's won every round against everybody's face so far in the UFC. He had to face Jan Kutalaba for like 4 years or 2 years at least, where he was preparing for him, and he kept beating him. Knocked him out twice, both in the first round. Nikita Krylov. That was a fight where definitely he was a little bit too patient. And I mean, yeah, I agree the price is off, Dave. Then you just can pass on it. Betting on Santos isn't going to do you any favors here. Santos is, like you're just going to lose a plus 400 bet. Like that's all you're going to do. I do think Ankalaev is just better, younger, stronger, faster. The last 2 fights has shown he can go to decision. He's a little bit too patient at points, but with this, and with this being 5 rounds, that is the route for Santos in this fight. He can take advantage of the patience, the indecisiveness of Ankalaev, lay on the leg kicks, lay on enough strikes and enough power shots to win 3 of the 5 rounds. So I do understand the bet to an extent. I think Ankalaev is starting to learn from some of his issues earlier in his career of being a little indecisive, like showed up in the Dalcha champion fight and other fights where, yes, he got the finish, but it should have happened sooner. And the problem was he just takes some time to get going. I think Ankalaev is going to be well aware that's how Santos did defeat Johnny Walker. I think that he has to know that leaving the space for Santos to dictate the pace, dictate the offense on the feet is the only way that Santos takes this fight. I think Ankalaev has 5 rounds of gas in him. I think that he is capable of the 5 rounds, and I think this is going to be a good opportunity for him to show. I get the prices off. I'm not going to be betting Ankalaev at minus 550 a whole lot. I am still picking him in this spot. I think that he probably takes this one by decision, but I could see a finish later in the 3rd or beyond. I think the first 2 rounds are a lot of danger with Santos, but I do think he's going to slow down as this fight goes. Even the Johnny Walker fight, he took the decision, but he was definitely slowing down, and that was a lot of Walker losing that as it was Santos taking it. Santos has a 5-round experience, as Visceral points out, and that's true. It's closer than the price. That being said, Ankalaev still takes this one, in my opinion, and I think he puts him away via TKO, and I'll say round 3. Go over to Lewis first.
Okay, well, I think I got it the other way around with the indecisiveness. I think Thiago Santos is extremely indecisive. He doesn't know whether to
They both kind of could mirror each other. I think they both could mirror each other.
Absolutely could.
You could see a lot of it.
Yeah, absolutely could. The one thing I will say is Thiago Santos fights his best performances when he puts the pressure on the opponent, and that is how Magomed fights. Magomed is not going to give him the center of the cage. Magomed is going to march him down, and Thiago cannot throw off his back foot. He cannot place that power. He cannot land with the accuracy he normally does, which is a real worry for me because Magomed is a leg kick master for a light heavyweight. He's got superb kicks, and he's going to be chopping that lead leg down, withdrawing that power, sapping the energy of Santos over these rounds. And I am 100% behind you with a late finish. Magomed's got clinical striking, absolute technician. He very rarely throws when he doesn't hit. He's got high volume when he pins you. When he absolutely cuts the corner off of that cage, he unleashes. I think he has learned a whole lot from losing to Paul Craig with indecisiveness. And that being said, Thiago Santos, if he doesn't get put on the back foot and he doesn't allow that corner to be cut and he does use lateral movement like he used to do before the John Jones fight, he could definitely knock Magomed out. He has absolute clinical striking. He cuts angles beautifully and he does find those gaps in the guard. But I think Magomed's way too good for that. I think this is his coming out party. This is the big one for Magomed. I think the odds are very unfair. I think they should be closer, but Magomed is rightfully the favorite. I think he's going to march him down. He's going to put too much pressure on Thiago. He's going to sap the energy. He's going to butcher his legs. And as long as he has a high guard and he still avoids that one big shot from Thiago, because I give him the Derek Lewis one-shot knockout kind of treatment in this, whether that's right or wrong, that's how I'm looking at the fight. And I think Magomed is the real bloody deal here. I think Magomed by 4th, 5th round takes him deep, finishes him. I finished in TKO, I think.
Yeah, and one thing you mentioned is how Santos can't really strike going off his back foot, which is completely true. We've seen Ankalaev get knockouts off his back foot with that counter left hook. I mean, he throws almost as powerful going backwards as he does moving forward. So if Santos does get overly aggressive, I can see the opening there. Even the Jimmy Manuel fight is a fight where you can see a lot of those spots where, yes, Santos got the finish on Manuel, but there were a lot of spots where Manuel was catching him, and that was a very past his prime Manuel. So I do think that the boxing and striking can be effective of Ankalaev. Josh, how do you see this fight?
Yeah, I mean, I'll bring us home right here. I think I take a little bit from both of your points. I think the injury to Thiago Santos' knees is a big factor because he hasn't, looked the same since his knee injuries, thanks to John Jones. And then the kicks of Ankalaev are going to be, a big, I guess, strategy for him in this fight. Drop the leg of Thiago Santos. And I also think the length of Magomed Ankalaev he's just a super long-armed kind of guy. So I could see him really pumping the jab out and giving Thiago Santos a whole lot of problems on the feet. You're pumping the jab, you're pumping the leg kicks, making Thiago Santos more and more frustrated. And I want to pick Santos just to, mirror you guys, but I don't think I can because Ankalaev 16-1, future of the division. I'd like to see him up there with guys like Anthony Smith and Alexander Rakic or someone like that next, because I think he's at that point. I don't know where Thiago Santos goes from here if he loses this fight. He is coming off of a really good win against Johnny Walker in a 5-round fight, but it didn't age too great because of the knockout that Jamal Hill bestowed upon us. So I can't take Santos in this spot. Ankalaev, because of the length, because of the leg kicks, because of the jab, I think he's just gonna outpoint, and defeat Santos. And I'll say he's gonna show his 5-round experience in this fight. If you're gonna, I would pick Ankalaev in a decision. He takes it about 3-2 or 4-1. I like that pick.
Yeah, I really do think Ankalaev is one of the best in the 205 division. Maybe he's just behind the Rakic's, the Prosaics of the world, or but right there. I think he's a top 5, fringe top 5, if not better. He's one submission away from already getting that Anthony Smith kind of fight, and that submission will end up being the best thing for Magomed's career. I think here, I think that if you're going to test drive, am I a 5-round fighter? This is a pretty good opportunity here against a guy like Santos. And then David, what do you think the Jillian JJ pick was? Take a wild guess. The least suspenseful pick of the night for sure. Santos is going to be out of the UFC. I'll be looking forward to his PFL debut. Well said, Justin. That is well said. Well, Justin has some real nuggets of wisdom here, but that is going to do it for the UFC Vegas 50 show. We, for the most part, had more agreements on here than I was expecting.
A lot of agreements.
But a lot more agreements than last week. I will be putting the timestamps up for the LFA and the UFC after this show. Apologies for any sort of connection errors today. I'll get those figured out for tomorrow for the PFL Challenger Series. Make sure to check out Josh over on Rooted MMA, doing tons of interviews over there as well as with Fight Bananas. doing a ton of really great stuff over there. He is the future, as David has mentioned many times. The truth, Lewis over there on Norton MMA just had an MMA recap show with Dan Hardy. Go check that out. It's some really, really great knowledge there. And again, he always has the previews and the recap shows afterwards. I agree, David. He's a great and honestly, right now I'm gonna wait on doing Eagle FC breakdowns for the main reason that it's just a lot of kind of just wash matchups. Honestly, there's not a lot of analysis for me to do on the fights where the analysis is there. I don't have a lot of the tape available on a lot of these fighters, so I'm gonna wait for now. I'm trying to find someone who has a little more knowledge with that scene before I really start to offer those breakdowns up. But once I find somebody who I can work with on those, I will. But for now, I'm going to hold off on the Eagle FC. We'll have the PFL Challenger Series tomorrow. For Josh, for Lewis, for Aaron the dog. We'll be back next Wednesday with another UFC breakdown show. The Bellator breakdown show with Lewis is on the channel. The Lucky Locks Picks breakdown show for LFA on the channel. PFL Challenger Series tomorrow. Peace out, everybody. Keep taking care of each other out there. See you next time. Thanks.